Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. I'm teacher Ali from Kangaroo Study and today we'll be continuing our video series on PSLE past paper solutions. I'll be picking up exactly from where teacher Cedric last left off, which is PSLE 2022 paper 2 question number 10. Now before we even start reading this question, as you saw from the thumbnail, what type of problem is this going to be? This is going to be our classic travel problem. And what's the most important thing we need to know in any travel problem? We need to know the relationship between the distance traveled by an object, its speed, and the time. And more specifically, to find this distance traveled, we just multiply the speed by the time. So now we have this equation with three quantities, distance, speed, and time. And the most beautiful thing about this relationship is that given any two, you can find the third and final one. So for example, if you need to find the time taken in a journey, and you know the distance and the speed, you just divide the distance by the speed to get this time. And similarly, if you know distance and time, you can take distance divided by the time to get the average speed for the whole journey. Now with this, let's start reading. When Jane started jogging from her home, Linda was 1.2 kilometers ahead. Jane jogged at 10 kilometers per hour and Linda walked at 4 kilometers per hour. They went in the same direction and did not change their speeds throughout. Now how far did Jane jog in 45 minutes? How far did Jane jog? Now that's simply just asking for her distance traveled. So we've already revised. In order to find distance, it's just speed and time. So to find Jane's distance, we take Jane's speed, which is 10 kilometers per hour, multiply it by Jane's time, which is 45 minutes. And now our first problem, do we just take 10 times 45 to get 450? No, right? You must notice that there is a mismatch of units. Kilometers per hour cannot be multiplied with minutes. But no problem. We can just convert minutes into hours. Now how do we do that? So the first thing you should know is that 60 minutes is exactly 1 hour. And so from this we know 1 minute must be a 60th of an hour, dividing both sides by 60. And then 45 minutes is simply 45 over 60, which we can simplify to 3 over 4. Now, do I convert this into decimal form or should I leave it in fractional form? Now, just think about it. What do we usually do after converting minutes to hours? We are going to multiply it to some speed or maybe divide it with the distance, right? So we can actually just leave it in this fraction form and it'll just make our lives a lot easier, as you can see later. So we know 45 minutes now is exactly 3/4 of an hour. So now we can plug it into our equation and this is going to very simply just be 30 over 4 kilometers, and we can actually simplify this very easily to 7.5 kilometers. Now do you see? So for this part it was very simple. It's just applying this formula directly, and you must remember when you convert minutes to hours, you don't have to go through all these steps again, but you just must make sure you divide by 60 and then you simplify, leaving it in fractional form. Now for the second part, part B, it's asking who was ahead after 45 minutes and how far apart were they? Who was ahead? What is that even asking? Now we know after 45 minutes, from part A we know Jane has already jogged 7.5 kilometers by this time. So who was ahead is just asking, is Linda in front or behind Jane? And in order to know that, we need to find Linda's distance traveled as well. And we just need to compare. So Linda's distance traveled will be given by Linda's speed, which is 4 kilometers per hour, multiplied by 45 minutes as well, which we now know to be 3/4 of an hour. Easy cancellation here to be 3 kilometers. But are we done? Is that it? No. Before Jane even started jogging, Linda actually had a small head start of 1.2 kilometers. So we must add that to the 3 kilometers we have calculated to get 4.2 kilometers. Now obviously we know 4.2 kilometers is a lot smaller than 7.5 kilometers, so we can write the initial part of our answer. Jane was ahead. Okay, and by how much, right? By how far apart were they? And we just take our part A answer, 7.5 kilometers minus 4.2 kilometers, and then we will get 3.3 kilometers. We can finish up our answer statement by 3.3 kilometers. Now, we have our final answers for both parts, but don't go yet, okay? Let me just quickly summarize the main ideas for you. So the main takeaways for this question is two. So the first thing, for any travel problem, of course you need to know the distance equals to speed times time. And if you know any of the other two quantities, you can find the third one, whether that's distance, speed, or time. Okay? And now the second thing is, of course, when changing minutes into hours, in order to do that, you first divide by 60. You don't have to go through all the steps all over again, and then you can actually leave it in fraction form. And as you saw in part A, it made our lives a lot easier. So those are the two main ideas for travel problems. So keep that in mind when you encounter this type of problem. Now that's it for this problem. Once again, we are Kangaroo Study. Our PSLE class is now enrolling, and if you're interested in that or you have any questions for us, you're free to scan this QR code and to join our WhatsApp, our PSLE study group. And as for me, I am Teacher Alif, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.